this video, we're going to be creating a job application project using HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's a bit like Markdown language, which you use when you want to create like a title and header bar. But you also use it to create a website. Right now, this Google Chrome I'm on actually uses HTML. Now, whatever page you see me go to, just know that it's already built with HTML. HTML is the structure of a website. There are also some other pieces we won't get to that much detail today, which is CSS and JS. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and JS stands for JavaScript. So right now, I'll show you the project that we are about to make. Right here is the project that we're going to make. It says, welcome to the job application. Please answer the questions with, and then they say this asterisk right here. Now the contact details is full name, your gender, your email, and then your phone number. So I'll say Denzel, that's my first name, and then I say male. I'm just going to say example@gmail.com. And phone number, of course, I'll just write 3 zeros, 4 zeros, and then another 3 zeros. Now the job, I'll just say many, since I know 4 coding languages, and then I say study area of Coursera. And then I click on submit. And now you can see right here, it said, this information is now a read-only file. You cannot make any changes, so we'll need the page highlights and another one. So yeah, this is the project we're going to make. And read-only means that you can't edit whatever you've written. Like right now you can say I can't edit the full name, the email, the phone number, the job, or even the study area. And now since the gender and the certificate area aren't text, you can edit them. That's why they disappeared. So yes, let's make the project. Now let's click on this new tab, and I say VS Code.dev. Click on enter. Now after this here, I'm going to click on open folder, so that way you can open any folder. And now once you've made a new folder in your documents folder, you can click on it, and then you click on the select folder button. Now I made a folder called video projects, and the first thing here we're going to do is we'll click on this button. This button is to add a text file. Now I'll say 001.html to show that this is our first HTML project, and then click on enter. Now that I have our first HTML project here, let's start it here. So I'm saying doc type HTML. Now let me add this D, and then here it is, it's done. Now that's saying doc type of HTML. You can say PHP, but the doc type is just to show which type of coding language we're using for Markdown. And now it's HTML. Then we say HTML. It is the root of an HTML project or document, which means that this HTML here is the root of our project. It's where we're going to be typing all our HTML code. It's showing that we're typing an HTML code language. Now we click on enter and say head. Now the head tag is just like a tag that it doesn't do any edits to your page. All it's doing is that it's like importing some code or giving facts about your website to Google, so that if somebody wants to go to your website, they can see like a quick summary of how your website is like and what it does. So that's what the head does. It carries all that stuff. It also carries styling, which is how we're going to make our website look beautiful using CSS. Now, the next thing we want to add here is called meta. Now the meta tag is a tag that you use to write facts of your website. Like if I should say, then if I say right here that I say content equals, then I say width device width, which means that the width of your page is going to be the same size of whatever device you are using. And then we also say 1px or 1 pixel just in case. And now we can also do http equiv like that. And this is a meta tag. Now the next thing we want to add here is a title. Now the title tag is, if you look at here, you can see that we have a title of 001.html. Now this shows that this is our website's title. So the title tag shows the title of your website, which is going to be job application. I'll also add form if you like. Now this is the head. Now let's go to the body tag. Now the body tag here is a tag where you type the code. So like the code that's going to show on your website. Like right here, this website I'm on, everything in here that's showing is inside a body tag. So this is a body tag here. Now if I say body, and then I also say right here, I'm going to say a header tag. Now a header tag is the head of a website. So when you come there are like these links or something that just shows a quick review of your website on top, or how it's going to look like. That is a header. Now our header is going to have a H group. Now a H group tag is a tag you use for headings. And now let me show you what a heading is. This right here is a heading. The one inside it is also a heading. Now this is heading 1 and this is heading 2. Now let me explain how headings work. There are 6 headings and there is no more than that. There's no heading 7. Right here you can see all of them. Heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That is how they are. Now heading 1 is the biggest of them all. So think of a heading this way. The higher the number, the smaller the text. So if my text was ABC, then if it's in heading 1, it's going to appear the biggest because of this is the least I can go. And if I say heading 2, then it's going to get smaller. So that's how the text works. The bigger the number, the smaller the text. Now our text here is going to be job application form. And then we're going to have a P tag. Now a P tag, if you're typing text, a P tag is also known as a paragraph. So you use it to start a paragraph. And this paragraph is going to have, please fill in the blank with, and then let's add this B here and say, or asterisk. Now for this one, we're going to add an I tag. Now let me explain this. Now I in HTML, the I tag stands for italic. It makes whatever text inside it italic. And the B tag stands for bold, which means any text inside it is going to become bold. Now, for us to see what we've been doing so far, let's type file : 3 slashes a C : a slash users a slash that whatever username you're using. I'm writing OneDrive slash, and then I say documents folder slash, and then I say my video. And you can see I'm adding a %20 because Google uses %20 to identify a space, and I say project slash 001.html like that. And this is what we've done so far. You can see this text right here is italic and this one is bolder than a normal asterisk. And now we have a heading 1, like I said, it says job application form like that. Now let's continue what we are doing here. Now, if we should go on inside under a header, we see something called section. Now, a section tag is used to identify that you're typing text inside here. So a section tag can have a p tag, of course, which is a paragraph. Sections identify or explain about something. You can also put like forms in there, which is what we're going to do after we add a field set. Now let me explain a field set tag. A field set tag is a tag that you use when you want to have a big border around something. So right now, if I go to our project and click on reload, you can see this border right here just appeared. So a field set tag is a big border until the text inside it is surrounded by that border. Now, the legend tag, which is what we're going to add here now, is a tag that you use when you want somebody to know what the field set means. Like right now, if I have this field set here, nobody knows what this field set means. While a legend tag is a text that pops out around this area in your field set tag to explain what it's about. If I should say contact details, which means the way that we get in touch with the person, and reload the page, you can see the contact details actually just popped out of this area. Now, it tells us that whatever is going to be inside this field set, it's going to be all contact details, which means a way that we can get in touch with the person. Now, let's continue. Now, the next thing that we want to add here is a form, like I said. Now, a form is like a quick survey that you have to fill that has questions for you to answer. So that's what a form tag is. Let's call this ID equal to contact form. Now this ID we have here is used to represent this tag, which means in case we write form, like if we're looking for all forms, we'll get like a bunch of forms. And if we're only looking for one particular form, it's better to use an ID because IDs help you identify the form and leave whatever other tag is there. It doesn't only work for forms, it works for anything else. Like right now, I could say ID of, and then I say form type. Now, if I want to look for heading 1, I could type form type here, and then I only get this heading 1 right here. Like in the form tag, I can say ID of contact form and only get this form. I should see nothing should appear here. Now, a form has questions, like I said, which is the inputs tag. Input is like how you enter a text, how you type or keep in touch. So like if I say an input, that means I'm going to be writing something or entering a question. That's what inputs means. Now I say type equals to, now this inputs type is called text. Now text is like a way just to write normal random text in here. But in this one, we want to write a name. So for the person to know that we want to write a name, we use a label tag. Now, a label tag is a piece of tag you use to label any question you have. So you use them inside form, like this. Right now, you can't see any label because we haven't written any label. But once we do write a label, then you understand what this text box is for. Because right now, somebody could just be writing random words in here because they don't know what it's for. But if we say name and we say a for, now if we say right here, I said for, and then we write an ID like name. Now the for is like a way for somebody to be looking for an ID with this name that you write it here. So whatever you write in here, inside this for area, it should be a real ID name. And then the label tag will be looking for whatever ID has that name that it's written here. And for it to find the answer, I'm going to write ID equals to name. So right now, if somebody is trying to read your code or read through your code, they'll know that this label right here is linked to this input. Like it's meant for this input. Just like that. And now another way for people to know that this area right here is for you to write your text is a placeholder. Now a placeholder is a piece of text to use to hold its place. So that way if you don't have a label, people still know what that text box is for. Like if I should say full name, that people know that they're going to write their full name in here. They're going to write their full name. Like if we see it here, you can see name of full name. Now a placeholder, it only appears when you don't have any text. But when you do start writing any text, the thing disappears for you to see what you're writing. Like if I should say Denzel, you can see that the placeholder is gone now because of there's text in here. But if I remove the text, then it appears back again. So that's what a placeholder does. Now let's go to the next tag here. This tag is called a break tag. But in short, it's just called BR. Now, a BR or a break tag is a tag used to break things onto different lines. So you use it for whatever text isn't going to be on the same line. Like if you check our form, this label and this input, they are on the same line. But if we use a break tag and put it in between this label and this input, then this label tag is not going to be on the same line as this input tag. So that's what a break tag does. Now, to put our next thing we're going to have in here, let's have email. So like we want to keep in touch with the person, so we're going to have an email. Now, the ID we're going to be looking for in here is email ID. And now let's change this input ID instead of name to be email. And now instead of this type of text, we want to get the email of the person. So we're going to write a type of email, which means that you can type any email in here and it's going to show you all your emails. And for this in here, it's going to show you all your names. So that's what it does. Now let's change our placeholder first. Now let's change it to example@gmail.com, which is just like an example email to show the person how the email is meant to be like. Like now you can see what the break tag did. It broke these two lines onto a separate area. And now you can see we have another placeholder. And right here you can see all these emails. You might not be able to see it because it's on my side, but on your side you should see whatever email you've ever entered before. And names, you should see like a name that you've entered before, or just like random text. Now let's go on to the next one. Now the next one I'm going to be pasting. This is going to be gender. So right now I'm going to use a label tag again and look for whatever ID has gender in its ID. So whatever ID is the name of gender, then that means that this is going to be linked to that tag's ID. Now let's write gender in here. And now we're going to write the place we're going to be selecting the gender. Now we say the select tag. Now the select tag is basically like you can choose anything. Like if I have two doors, option 1 and option 2. Now option 1 door leads to like a computer and option 2 leads to a phone. And I choose option 1. That means I've selected option 1 instead of option 2. So that's what the select tag does. It allows you to choose an option. And now that option is the next tag in here. So an option is like what you have inside the select tag. It's what you're going to pick. Like you can pick this option, which is going to be defaultly blank. Another option, which is going to have male to show that this is for male. Or another option to show for female. Now whatever option you pick, it's up to you. So it's going to be defaultly on the first option, and then when you click on select, you can select between the second option or the third option. That's what it does. Now, after that, let's check what it looks like now. Now you can see what the gender did. You have blank, male, female, and it's defaultly on blank like I said. Now let's go on to the next one. We're going to paste what we've copied before, right here, and add a break tag to break them onto different lines. Now the next thing we want to add here is its label is going to be looking for whatever ID has the name of phone. And now this is going to be called phone number. So that's whatever this person does, they can see that this is a phone number. And this type is going to be called number, which means that you can type any number in here, like a phone number. But the way for it is you use tel. So tel is telephone. So use it for a telephone number. Now the ID, you set it to an ID of course, whatever is inside our label, which is phone. So we're going to set our ID to phone right here. And now the placeholder is going to be 3 zeros, 4 zeros, and another 4 zeros. Like this. And now you can see any phone number that you've ever entered in here before. Now the next thing that we're going to add here is we're going to add a new field set. So let's just copy this whole field set we have here and paste it again. Now you should see another exact duplicate of the first one we have here, like this, right under. Now we're going to change the second field set. So this, instead of contact details, is going to be job application. So this is when the person is actually going to be applicating for the job. So like, or we could say job details, like that. And instead of the ID to be contact form, we're going to say job form, because this is about the job, not the contacts anymore, or how to reach them. Now instead of this ID or of label to be looking for whatever ID has the name of a name, we'd say job. I change this name label to job also. Now the text, we just leave it the type the same because of there's no type for a job. And now the ID is also going to be changed, this name here, to job. So this ID is going to be job. So that way you can look for whatever label has this name of ID that's called job. And then the placeholder is also going to be called enter job. So that way the person knows that if they don't know of the label and you check the placeholder, they can see that you're meant to enter their job in here. And the next one we have here is just the email one. Let's change it to practice. So it's going to be looking for whatever has practice in here, which is going to be where they study for the job, which is going to be called study area. So we say study area. And after study area, we're going to change the type of email to also still text. Now the ID is also going to still be practice, so that the label can be linked to this tag with the ID of practice. And the placeholder is going to be enter study areas, so where they study for the job, of course. And now let's remove this gender here because we don't need the gender. So now the next one we have here is a phone number. Let's change this phone number to certificates. And then this phone, instead of certificates we write here, we're going to write approve. So that way it's looking for whatever ID has the name of approve. The type is not going to be telephone, it's going to be text to show that it's just going to be text. Or we could say file, which is a better way. So file, which means you're going to choose your file. Now the ID of instead phone, we're going to change it to approve so that the label can be linked to this tag. And now the placeholder is not going to be a phone number. We're going to say choose style. So right here. Let's check how it looks once more. And now you can see it's completely changed completely from the first one. Now you have job, study area, and certificate, and job details, and name, email, gender, and phone number, and contact details. Now the last thing we're going to add here is our button. Now let's add this button here. The ID is going to be called a way that we can easily identify it. So ID like identify, if you say identify ID. Now the ID is also going to be called send, so that way we can send it and then unclick. This is mostly used in JavaScript. I'll also still say send, like that. And now we have our button here. Let's write the text in the button. So the text we want in our button is to submit, right here. And now we're done with our HTML. Now let's move on to our CSS. Right here, if we do style, this is where we're going to be writing our CSS. We're going to be styling this web page or changing things in it. The first thing we want to change is the B tags to be the color of red. So whatever tag is B, like this one we have right here that has this text in it, the text inside that is going to be the color of red. Like if we load here, you can see this is red now. Just like that. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let's remove this out of there and put it into the section, so that way it's going for the whole page, like that. And then they say, please fill in the blank with this asterisk that's red. But you can see none of them have red, so let's start adding the asterisk to it. First of all, we're going to copy this B, we Ctrl C. Then we add it in areas that need it, like the name, email, the gender. We don't need to add it in phone number because in case they don't have a phone number, they could write your email. Then the next one is the job, and then the study area. And then we don't need certificates. Now if you load, all those things that are recommended have the red asterisk right there. Now the next thing we also want to add here is the styling, because you can see that these text areas are small and they're also next to each other. They're too close. Now let's go back to our styling here. And add the styling of input. So whatever tag has the name of input, we're going to be changing how they look. First of all, we want the border. So we're changing the border of the inputs to 1 pixel, solid, and black, which means that 1 pixel means that it's going to be just 1 pixel, like 1 tiny dot. Then solid is going to be a straight line, and black means the color of the border is going to be black. So it's just like our field set, that the whole border is black. Like if we reload it right now, you can see that this has changed in like a tiny way that you can't really see. And now let's also add select tag. So whatever tag has the name of select, it's also going to be changed. And we also add a comment to show that whenever it's 2 items or more, these two are going to still have the same. And the next one I want to have here is a border radius. Because of, if you look at here, let's add 16 pixels for the border radius. You can see that these edges are sharp. So a border radius is going to turn all these edges on our input tags by 16 pixels, exactly like this. Now you can see how it looks. But now the spacing is small. That's where we're going to add a padding. Now a padding in CSS, it means the spacing of inside an element or of inside an HTML tag. Like if we added it in this heading 1, the inside of this heading 1, the text is going to have a lot of space. by how many pixels we write, or percentage. Now we say 10 pixels and reload. Now you can see the spacing. And now the next thing I also want to add here, since your two combined to another input, is a margin. A margin is like a padding, but it's for the outside. So the outside of the element, or the outside of the HTML tag, is going to have whatever spacing was right, like 10 pixels. So the outside space is going to be 10 pixels. Like right here, where you can see my cursor, these two areas are connected. These two and also these two. I reload it, and now the outside spacing is also separated. And now the last thing we need here is to change our submit button. Now our submit button, we're going to also add it to here. So we add a comma, but instead of submit, we change button. Now let's just click on retry so it can save here if it shows on your end. But here, and now our submit button is also going to look the same, like that. But let's add some color to our submit button, and like when we click on it, it should show our cursor to change. Now we add button, so it's going to change our button tag in HTML. Now the color, of course, like I said, is going to change the color of text to white. The background color, which means the inside, so like a padding, the whole inside of the element is going to have spacing, but a background color, the whole inside of it is going to have whatever color we write there, like green. Then the whole inside of it is going to be green, like this. Another color is made it white. Now the last thing I wanted to add here is a cursor. Like I said, our cursor needs to be like pointing at it. So we say cursor of pointer. The cursor is a pointer, so that way it points at it. Like this. That way it shows that we can click on it. After we've done all that, let's go to our JavaScript. Now a JavaScript here is, we're going to have script. So script is a way that we write JavaScript code inside an HTML tag. Like style is how we write CSS code inside an HTML file. Now, the first thing I want to add here is function of send. So this is just like Python, like where you write function, but instead of function you write def to define a function, and then you have the name of the function with brackets like that. But JavaScript doesn't have colons. It has curly brackets to define inside the function. Now, inside our function called send, we're going to get a document. Let's make a variable. We say const. Now, const in JavaScript, the full meaning of it is constant. So like in science, when you say something is constant, that means that it stays the same, it doesn't change. So what JavaScript is doing here is that whatever variable we make with const in front of it, we cannot change it inside the JavaScript code, only by HTML. So only using HTML we can change it, but not with JavaScript. Now let's write the name of it. We're going to say name in all capital letters. And we say document, which means we're going to be searching through our document and get whatever element or whatever tag by its ID. Like I said, the ID is how you can easily identify a tag. And now the name of the ID is going to be called name. Now let's change the name with, then we say read only, to mean that we can only read this file. And we set it to true, which means we can only read this text, we can't change it. Then we'll also add it to our email, or we could just copy this whole thing to make time faster. Now, like you can see, there's red underline because of there's two of it. We can't redeclare a variable that's already constant. Now we say email, and then the error is fixed. Now let's get the element by ID of email and set it only to read only. Then we say constant, of also again, we say phone, which means phone number. We can say it's without capital. And then we're going to search through our document, get whatever elements by its ID, or get whatever tag by its ID, which is an easier way of identifying it itself. And the name of the ID is phone dot read only, which is equal to true. Now we also get our job, so that's document dot get element by ID, of course, and then we say job is the name of the ID dot read only equals true. And then we also say again constant of study area, like that, equal to document get element by ID, and the name of the ID is called practice, which is an easier way of identifying it, and we say read only equal true. And then let's add our gender and then certificate. Constant of gender equal to document, searching through the document to get whatever element in the document as the name or has an ID with the name of practice, and we say gender dot, then we say styling, because JavaScript can also do styling. Then we say display equal to none, which means it's going to be hidden. Now the last one here again is we can copy this last line here, paste it, and say constant of, then we say the next you want to add is certificates with documents with the name of the element, that's the ID, and the name of the ID, which is an easier way of identifying it, is approved to make it easier, like that. And now to add a tiny bit of HTML here, you don't have to add this, but I'm just going to add this right here. Under our H group tag, we say a div that has an ID called read only. And now let's scroll back down here. And now for this, we're going to add another function. So we're going to call this function, we say read only, like that. Or you can say read true, because we don't want to edit this and change this read only and edit it and make it false. So we say function, and then we say read of true. Then we have these curly brackets to identify this function. Now the reason why we added this on top is like just in Python. If we add this function underneath it, it's like we haven't declared this function yet, and then it gives us an error. Now we say function of read true, and then we set it to document. We want to get an element by ID, which is called read only. Then after that, let's go back here and say read only alert equals to that, and we can say const. So this is the only one of its kind, constant variable. Now we say read only alert dot HTML, or you say inner HTML. Now inner HTML is a way that we write HTML in JavaScript. So like we can write simple HTML tags like this script here inside JavaScript itself, any tag that is real in HTML. Now if we say inner HTML equals to, we can also add simple text. Like I could say this is a read-only file. Only, I say file, you cannot edit this. Reloading the page allows you to send another one. So let's try reloading the page will allow you to send another one. Just like that. Then let's add CSS, like style dot color, and we see color is equal to gray. Now after the color of gray, we're going to still add another CSS dot style dot padding is equal to 5px. Then we'll also add another styling of the style, which means we're changing the style, which means it's like writing CSS in JavaScript. That's what the dot style means. And then we can write whatever edits we want to do to that ID, which means a tag with the name of the ID. Now say the styling, want to edit it with its border radius, of course. So we say border radius with a capital R for radius equals to 16px, or we say 8px. Now we're also going to add border. So we're going to add the border of border right here equals to 1px, or let's say 5px solid, and then we say dark blue. Then we also add one more right here with a read only dot style, and then we say dot, and then after that we're going to say the margin, which is the outside spacing of 10px, like that. And right here we have our function. Now for this, let's just add this, copy it, and put it in front of these two right here, just like that. And now here is our website. Now let's reload it, and it's still going to look the same because it's just JavaScript we added. Now the name, I just say Denzel. Email, we could also say example@gmail.com. The gender of male. The phone number of 3 zeros, 4 zeros, and then another 4 zeros. Then the job of, I'll just say manual, like I said before, study area of Coursera, like that, and then I click submit. Then you can see what it's set up here. This is a read-only file. You cannot edit this. Reloading the page will allow you to send another one, just like that. Now you can see we can't edit any of the text, just like that. So this is the website using HTML, making a job application form. And don't forget, you can find more videos on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you later. Bye.